The power of Panchatantra stories for learning English. Panchatantra is a collection of ancient Indian animal fables originally written in Sanskrit more than 2,000 years ago by a wise scholar named Vishnu Sharma. The stories are short, entertaining, and filled with deep life lessons, mostly about friendship, intelligence, strategy, and morality. When you read Panchatantra stories in simple English, it helps you improve your reading comprehension, learn new vocabulary naturally, understand sentence structure and storytelling, practice listening and speaking when used for narration, enjoy stories while learning English with cultural value. Let's now explore 6 very famous and slightly lengthy Panchatantra stories, rewritten in easy-to-understand English for learning and enjoyment. Story 1, The 4 Clever Friends. Long ago, in the heart of a deep and peaceful forest, there lived a clever crow. He was observant, wise, and always looked for friendship and kindness among the creatures of the jungle. Near a banyan tree where the crow lived, there was a small hole under the roots, and in that hole lived a rat, quick, clever, and good at solving problems. The crow and the rat met one evening and became good friends. They enjoyed each other's company, shared stories about their lives, and often warned each other about dangers in the forest. Soon, they were joined by another companion, a gentle and cheerful deer who came to drink water at the nearby lake. The deer, though calm and a bit naive, loved the company of the wise crow and the witty rat. A few days later, while walking slowly near the lake, a turtle overheard the friends talking and laughing. He wanted to be part of their group. He walked up to them and said, "May I join you in your friendship?" The crow smiled and replied, "Of course." True friends are not chosen by their speed or size but by their heart. The others agreed, and soon, the 4 animals became inseparable. Every evening, they would meet near the lake and talk about life, food, forest stories, and the changing seasons. One fine morning, the 4 friends were waiting at their usual meeting spot, but the deer didn't show up. The crow flew around to look for him but saw something shocking. The deer had been trapped in a hunter's net and was lying helplessly on the ground, struggling to free himself. The crow flew back quickly and told the rat and turtle what had happened. "We must act fast," the crow said urgently. The rat said, "Let's go now. I will chew the ropes of the net and free our friend. You guide me, and the turtle can follow." The crow flew ahead, showing the way. The rat ran as fast as he could. The turtle, slow but determined, followed behind. When the rat reached the deer, he immediately started chewing the net with his sharp teeth. Within a few minutes, the ropes were weak and started to snap. Just as the deer stood up and was about to escape, they heard the sound of dry leaves crunching under footsteps. The hunter had arrived. The crow quickly signaled the deer to run into the forest. The rat slipped into a hole under a rock. The crow flew to the top of a tree. But the turtle, being the slowest, could not escape in time. The hunter caught him, tied him up with a rope, and placed him in his sack. "Oh no," cried the crow from above. "We saved the deer, but now the turtle is caught." The rat said, "We must think of a new plan, quickly." The crow and rat whispered something, and then they hurried to the deer. The deer lay down on the forest path and pretended to be injured. His legs were stretched awkwardly, and he breathed heavily. When the hunter came along, he saw the deer lying as if he were dead. "What luck," he thought. "Now I will have not 1, but 2 animals to take home. First this turtle, and now this deer." He put down the sack with the turtle and walked towards the deer. Just as he bent down to lift the deer, the crow gave a loud call. That was the signal. The deer suddenly jumped up and ran like the wind into the forest. The hunter was shocked and tried to chase him, but the deer was too fast. Meanwhile, the crow flew down, and the rat ran to the sack and chewed the ropes again. The turtle crawled out slowly and hid under a bush. When the hunter returned, he saw nothing, no deer, no turtle. Everything was gone. Frustrated and tired, he left the forest empty-handed. Later that evening, the four friends met again near the lake. They were all safe. The deer bowed his head in thanks. "You all risked your lives to save me. I am lucky to have such true friends." The turtle said, "Today we showed that even a slow creature like me can be protected by friends." The crow added, "This is the power of unity." And the rat smiled, "When we work together, even the cleverest hunter cannot defeat us." Moral: true friendship, trust, and teamwork can overcome any problem, no matter how dangerous. Story 2: The Monkey and the Crocodile. Long ago, on the banks of a wide, peaceful river, there stood a tall jamun tree. Its branches were full of juicy purple fruits, sweet and tasty. On this tree lived a clever monkey. He was cheerful and lived alone, but he never felt lonely because he loved the river, the trees, and the fresh air around him. Every day, the monkey would jump from branch to branch, eat the delicious jamuns, and watch the world go by. One afternoon, as he was eating some fruits, he noticed a large crocodile resting on the riverbank, looking tired and hungry. Out of kindness, the monkey plucked some jamun fruits and called out, "Hello, friend. You look tired. Would you like some of these sweet fruits?" The crocodile opened his eyes and smiled. "Thank you, kind monkey. I am very hungry." The monkey threw some fruits down, and the crocodile ate them. They were so sweet and juicy that the crocodile licked his lips. From that day, the monkey and the crocodile became good friends. The monkey would share fruits every day, and they would talk for hours. The crocodile would tell stories about the deep river, and the monkey would share tales about birds and animals in the forest. One day, the crocodile said, "These fruits are so tasty. I wish my wife could try them too." The monkey smiled. "Why not? Take some for her. There are plenty." So, the crocodile took a bundle of fruits home. His wife, a greedy and cunning crocodile, enjoyed them and asked, "Where did you get these?" The crocodile told her about the monkey who lived on the jamun tree. The wife licked her lips and said slyly, "If the fruits are so sweet, imagine how sweet the monkey's heart must be. Bring him home so I can eat his heart." The crocodile was shocked. "What are you saying? He's my friend." But his wife insisted. "You must bring him. If you don't, I will stop eating and fall sick." The poor crocodile was caught between friendship and family. At last, unwillingly, he agreed. The next day, he went to the monkey and said cheerfully, "Dear friend, you have been so kind. My wife was delighted with your fruits. She would love to meet you. Why don't you come with me across the river to our home?" The monkey was surprised. "Oh, I've never been across the river. I don't know how to swim." "Don't worry," said the crocodile. "You can sit on my back. I'll carry you." The monkey trusted his friend and agreed. He climbed down the tree and sat on the crocodile's back. The crocodile slowly swam into the river. But as they reached the middle of the river, the crocodile grew quiet. He stopped swimming and sighed. The monkey asked, "Is everything okay?" The crocodile replied sadly, "I have something to tell you. I am ashamed, but I must be honest. My wife wants to eat your heart. She sent me to bring you so she can have it." The monkey was shocked, but he stayed calm. He thought quickly. Then he smiled and said, "Oh dear. If you had only told me earlier, we wouldn't be in this trouble." "What do you mean?" asked the crocodile, confused. The monkey replied, "You see, I don't carry my heart with me. I left it up in the tree, hanging on a branch. If you take me back, I'll go get it for you." The foolish crocodile believed him and turned around. As soon as they reached the riverbank, the monkey jumped off his back and quickly climbed up the tree to the highest branch. From there, he shouted angrily, "You ungrateful creature. You were ready to kill a friend who trusted you? Go away. I don't want to see you again." The crocodile felt ashamed and swam away slowly. After that day, the monkey never spoke to him again. He became more careful about whom he trusted. Moral: never betray someone who trusts you. And if you're ever in danger, use your mind to stay calm and find a clever way out. Story 3: The Lion and the Clever Rabbit. Once upon a time, in a vast green forest, there lived a fierce lion. He was the strongest animal in the jungle and believed he was the king of all creatures. Every day, the lion would go out hunting and kill animals, not just to eat, but also to show his power. Sometimes he killed more than he needed, just for fun. The animals in the forest lived in constant fear. They could no longer enjoy their days. Mothers were afraid for their babies, and herds moved nervously from one place to another. One day, all the animals gathered under a large tree to discuss their problem. An old wise deer stood up and said, "If we continue like this, there will soon be no animals left in the forest. We must think of a way to stop this." A rabbit spoke softly, "What if we go to the lion and offer a peaceful solution?" The animals agreed. The next day, they went to the lion's cave. The lion, full after a big meal, growled, "Why are all of you here?" A brave animal stepped forward and said, "Oh mighty lion, we have come with a request. Instead of hunting every day, let us send you one animal each day as your meal. This way, you don't need to waste your energy hunting, and we can live in peace." The lion thought for a moment. It was an easy offer, his food would come to him every day. He agreed, but warned, "If I don't get my meal even one day, I will go out and kill as many animals as I want." From that day on, one animal was sent to the lion's cave every day. The forest returned to a peaceful state, though sadness filled the hearts of those chosen as the daily meal. One day, it was the turn of a small rabbit. He was smart and thoughtful. Instead of walking quickly to the lion's cave, he took his time. He hopped slowly, stopping to rest under trees, nibbling grass along the way. The sun rose high in the sky, and then slowly began to set. The lion grew angry. "Where is my food?" he roared. "How dare they send nothing today? I will teach them a lesson." Just then, the little rabbit reached the cave. He looked tired and weak. The lion growled, "Why are you so late, little rabbit? I was about to come and kill all of you." The rabbit bowed politely. "Please forgive me, O king. I was sent with 5 other rabbits today, but on our way here, a huge lion attacked us. He claimed to be the real king of this forest and ate the others. Only I escaped." The lion's eyes turned red. "Another lion? In my jungle?" The rabbit nodded. "Yes, your majesty. He was strong, bold, and very proud. He said this forest belongs to him now." The lion roared with fury. "Take me to him at once. I'll tear him to pieces." The rabbit led the lion through the forest, across bushes and rocks, until they reached a deep well surrounded by old stones. The rabbit pointed and said, "He lives down there. When I refused to call him king, he jumped inside the well and said he'd wait to fight the real lion. The lion walked up to the edge of the well and looked down. What he saw was his own reflection in the clear water. But he didn't realize it was a reflection. He saw a strong lion looking back at him. He became even more angry. "How dare you challenge me?" he shouted and, without thinking, jumped into the well to attack his enemy. But there was no enemy. The lion splashed into the deep water and drowned. The clever rabbit peeped into the well, then smiled and said, "That is the end of your terror." He returned to the forest and told the other animals what had happened. The forest cheered. From that day on, the animals lived in freedom and peace, without fear of the lion. Moral: intelligence and clever thinking can defeat even the strongest enemy. Story 4: The Blue Jackal. In a small village on the edge of a thick forest, lived a hungry jackal. He was skinny, with dull gray fur and tired eyes. He often wandered through the forest in search of food, but the stronger animals scared him away. He was too weak to fight them and too slow to catch anything himself. One day, the jackal was very hungry. His stomach growled loudly, but there was nothing to eat. He thought to himself, "I cannot survive like this. I must take a risk today and go to the village. Maybe I'll find something near the houses." So, he crept into the village quietly, hiding behind walls and carts. But before he could reach the garbage area, a group of village dogs saw him and started barking loudly. "Jackal! Catch him!" they barked and ran after him. The frightened jackal ran as fast as he could, dodging cows, baskets, and wooden fences. In his panic, he slipped into the courtyard of a dyer's house, where big vats of colored water were kept for dyeing clothes. The jackal didn't see where he was going and fell headfirst into a large vat of blue dye. Splash! The dogs ran past, not noticing where he had gone. The jackal slowly climbed out of the vat, dripping with bright blue liquid from head to tail. He looked at himself and was shocked. "What happened to me?" He walked over to a puddle of water and looked at his reflection. His eyes widened. "I don't look like a jackal anymore. I look like some strange creature." His dull gray fur was now shiny and bright blue. No animal in the forest had ever looked like that. Suddenly, an idea struck him. He smiled slyly and said, "This may be my lucky day." He ran back into the forest and walked with pride through the trees. When the other animals saw him, they stepped back in fear. "Who is this strange creature?" whispered a deer. "A spirit from the sky?" asked a monkey. The jackal stood tall and announced in a deep voice, "I am not a jackal. I have been sent by the gods to rule the forest. I am your new king." The animals, confused and frightened, bowed before him. Even the lion, tiger, bear, and elephant were unsure what to do. None of them had ever seen such a bright blue animal. The blue jackal smiled and said, "From now on, I shall protect you. Serve me, and you will live in peace." He chose the lion as his bodyguard, the elephant as his advisor, and the fox as his messenger. Every animal obeyed him. He enjoyed his new life as a king. The other jackals, who had once been his friends, were not allowed to come near him. "They are lowly creatures," he said proudly. "I am above them now." Days passed, and the blue jackal lived comfortably. Animals brought him food, massaged his feet, and sang his praises. But one night, as the moon rose high in the sky, something happened that changed everything. From a distant hill, a group of real jackals began to howl at the moon, their voices echoing through the forest. "Awo! Awo!" When the blue jackal heard their voices, his natural instinct returned. He was so happy to hear his kind that he forgot where he was and howled loudly in response. Oh whoa! Suddenly, there was silence. All the animals stared at him. The lions and elephants looked confused. The foxes gasped. That's the voice of a jackal, someone shouted. You lied to us, cried another. You are not a God-sent king, you are just a jackal with blue paint. The blue dye had already started to fade, and water had washed some of it off. Now his true identity was clear. The animals became angry. You tricked us and insulted your own kind. They rushed toward him. The blue jackal, now terrified, ran for his life. He jumped into the bushes and disappeared deep into the forest, never to return to that part again. Moral: don't pretend to be someone you're not. The truth always comes out in the end. Story 5: The Greedy Monkey and the Wedge. Once upon a time, in a town near the edge of a forest, a team of skilled carpenters was building a large temple. Every morning, they would come to the site with their tools and wood, and they worked hard all day long, cutting, hammering, and shaping the wood into beams and pillars. Close to the worksite, there lived a group of monkeys who liked to play in the nearby trees. They were full of curiosity and energy. They often came down to the ground to see what the carpenters were doing, jumping around the wooden logs and peeking into toolboxes when no one was looking. Among these monkeys was one particularly greedy and foolish monkey. He was always eager to touch new things and poke his nose where it didn't belong. While the others climbed trees and played with leaves, he was always looking for something unusual or exciting. One afternoon, when the sun was high and hot, the carpenters took a break for lunch. They left their work in place and sat under the shade to eat and rest. At that moment, the curious monkey noticed a large log of wood lying near the unfinished temple wall. It had been partially split by the carpenters using a wedge, a piece of sharp wood hammered between the crack to keep it open. The monkey had never seen anything like it before. He leaped onto the log and stared at the wedge. What's this thing stuck in the wood, he thought. Why is it there? What happens if I pull it out? The other monkeys called to him, come play with us. Don't touch that. It's part of the carpenter's work. But the greedy monkey didn't listen. I'm not afraid, he said. And I want to know what happens when I take it out. Without thinking, he sat on the log right in the middle of the split and grabbed the wedge with both hands. He pulled once, but it didn't move. He pulled again, harder. Then with one final strong tug, the wedge came loose. The moment the wedge slipped out, the heavy log, which had been forced open, snapped shut instantly. The monkey let out a loud scream. "Ah!" His tail was caught tightly between the two halves of the log. He tried to pull himself free, but the wood had closed with great force. He cried in pain, struggling and calling out to his friends. The other monkeys, frightened, ran to him. But none of them knew how to open the heavy log or free his tail. Soon, the carpenters heard the noise and came running. When they saw the monkey, they laughed. "This foolish animal tried to mess with our work," one of them said. They gently opened the log and let the monkey go. He ran off in pain and embarrassment, holding his injured tail. From that day on, the monkey never went near human tools again, and he learned to listen when others gave good advice. Moral: don't interfere in things you don't understand. Curiosity without wisdom can lead to pain. Story 6: The Tortoise Who Couldn't Keep Quiet. In a peaceful village surrounded by hills and trees, there was a beautiful pond. This pond was home to many animals, including fish, frogs, birds, and insects. But 2 geese and 1 tortoise were the best of friends there. The geese, named Chitra and Vikram, were graceful and loved flying across lakes and rivers. The tortoise, named Kambu, was slow but very wise. The three friends would spend their days talking near the pond, laughing, sharing stories, and enjoying the calm breeze. One year, the rains didn't come. The sun burned hot in the sky day after day, and slowly, the water in the pond began to dry up. The green grass turned brown, the mud cracked, and fish struggled to breathe. The geese looked at the shrinking pond and said with worry, "If we don't find water soon, everyone here will die." Kambu, the tortoise, sighed, "You both can fly. I cannot leave this place. What will happen to me?" The geese looked at each other and said, "Don't worry, friend. We will find a way to help you." The next morning, Chitra and Vikram flew far and wide, searching for another pond. After a long journey, they found a large, clean lake with cool water and green plants all around. They returned to the tortoise with the good news. "Kambu," said Chitra, "we found a wonderful lake where you'll be safe." Vikram added, "But how do we carry you there? You can't fly." After some thinking, Vikram came up with a clever idea. He picked up a strong stick and said, "We will hold this stick between our beaks. You must bite the middle of it with your mouth. We'll fly and carry you through the air." Kambu nodded slowly and said, "Yes. That might work. But," warned Chitra firmly, "you must not open your mouth at any cost. If you do, you will fall. Even if someone talks to you or laughs at you, don't speak," added Vikram. "Just stay quiet until we reach the new lake." Kambu promised. "Don't worry, friends. I won't open my mouth." Soon, they were flying in the sky, Chitra holding one end of the stick, Vikram the other, and Kambu tightly holding on in the middle with his teeth. People on the ground looked up and were amazed. "Look! 2 birds are carrying a tortoise. How strange and funny it looks. Ha ha! The tortoise must think he's a bird now." As the geese flew higher over the fields and villages, more people pointed and laughed. They made jokes and shouted silly things. At first, the tortoise ignored them. But slowly, he began to feel angry and embarrassed. "How dare they laugh at me," he thought. "I must say something to shut them up." Forgetting the warning, he opened his mouth and shouted, "You fools!" But before he could finish his sentence, he let go of the stick, and push! Kambu fell from the sky, spinning and screaming, down, 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 until he crashed to the ground with a terrible thud. When the geese landed and ran to him, they were heartbroken. "Oh, Kambu, why didn't you stay silent?" The tortoise, weak and hurt, whispered, "I was foolish. I let anger and pride make me speak. I should have listened." Moral: speak only when necessary. In some situations, silence is the wisest choice.